No longer covert action teams, but crisis aversion tactical squad. This is the all-new WildCats, a team now firmly in the DC universe. This is DC's third attempt at bringing back Wildstorm. After the New 52 books and Warren Ellis' The Wildstorm, which was supposed to spin off a Cats book. The WildCats were created by Jim Lee and Brandon Choi back in the 90s.
WildCats was actually a mishmash of a bunch of characters I created when I was a kid growing up reading comics. A friend of mine, childhood friend of mine, Brandon Choi, and I used to create comics at the kitchen table when we were like 10, 11, 12 years old. And over the years we had different variations of these same characters. And so WildCats really is an amalgamation of all these different characters we created as kids.
WildCats are wild covert action teams. Don't ask about the S. Featuring the quippy assassin Grifter and his on and off girlfriend, Dakota assassin Zealot. He's a scientist that turns big, he gets angry, dumb and green. The incredible beautiful telepath Voodoo, art lover people stabber Warblade, the powerful enigmatic Void, and led by the noble android warrior Spartan and CEO of Halo Corps, Jacob Marlowe. This ragtag team was committed to saving the world from a group of aliens known as the Daemonites. They are part of an ancient secret war taking place over centuries on Earth between the Daemonites and Cherubiums, where the ancestors are superpowered beings on the team. Talents like Alan Moore and Joe Casey contributed to the story. It even managed to have its own animated TV show. The universe it resided in, Wildstorm, is from the mind of Jim Lee. It is his contribution to the world of Image Comics. It's also where the Authority, who are getting a movie, come from. Eventually, Lee grew tired of running his own company and so opted to sell it to DC. It's pretty safe to say that Cats have been irrelevant for the past 15 years, which is when the Wildstorm universe pretty much ended. In 2011, DC launched a New 52, which rebooted all characters and storylines except a select few like Batman and Green Lantern, and some of our Wildcats started to appear. Zealot found her way into a relationship with Deathstroke, weird. Grifter had a solo book by Rob Liefeld, which lasted 16 issues, and one of the most unexplainable decisions of the New 52. Voodoo had her own book, which lasted 12. Yeah, it wasn't looking good for a covert action team. And so things went quiet, with the only characters making consistent appearances being Grifter and the Authority's Midnighter. Then came Warren Ellis, a critically acclaimed writer tasked to reboot the Wildstorm universe as separate from the world of DC. 24 issues were published in 29 months, which isn't great. But they had plans for 3 spin-offs, including the Cats, but only ended up yielding a Michael Cray spin-off before Ellis was booted from the industry after dozens of cases came to light about what a terrible person he is. And so that left us in limbo once again, until 2021. DC launched Future State, a 2-month period where everything was set in the future, which was intended to push the new Trinity. But they also brought in Grifter, Apollo, and Midnighter. And then Grifter was hired as Lucius Fox's personal bodyguard. These stories appeared in Batman Urban Legends, where all this time Grifter was also talking to a mysterious person, clearly working behind Lucius's back. And then it happened. As Wayne's security closed in on him, the WildCats came back. Grifter, Zealot, Michael Cray, Ladytron, Fairchild, Nora Freeze? And is that Spartan in the Void? But hey, the Cats are back. Matthew Rosenberg, the writer of the Grifter stories, was assigned to this new book, alongside artist Steven Segovia. The S now meant something too. They're the Crisis Aversion Tactical Squad. Some of the weirder design choices did go away in favor of more traditional ones by the first issue, and Nora Freeze just kinda showed up once before leaving. Voodoo also was here, and so was Marlowe, and the other guys, well, they became antagonists. But this wasn't about the original team. This was about becoming fluid with the rest of the DCU, and they were, encountering Green Arrow, Batman, Superman, and other DC mainstays. With Rosenberg's intuitive sense of dark humor, this book is truly delightful. A perfect blend of the screwed-upness of the Cats and the superheroics of DC. Now the characters were pretty reinvented. While Grifter was still snarky and Zealot noble, Voodoo and Spartan were both back to being more like they were at the beginning of their stories. Those two probably the most character development back in the older run, so it's a bit of a shame. Spartan is less human, more robotic, which works really well for the story being told here. Voodoo's kinda boring to be honest, and just doesn't get much to do. Characters like Fairchild and Cray are not traditionally part of the team, but they're welcome additions. They're able to add perspectives and character archetypes that the others could not. Fairchild is kinda like Shazam, but she simply grows into someone older and stronger rather than using a magic word. So she could add this childlike brattiness to a team of trained killers. Cray's essentially the straight man, the hardcore no time for jokes operative, who can serve as a functional team leader. He has the power of pretty much not dying as long as they're a body that his consciousness can be put into. Which honestly, when thinking about it, is a lot like the original Spartan, which is why it's kind of funny when he eventually ends up in a Spartan android. But the story is pure Wildcats. The Halo Corporation is under threat from another businessman who takes Marlo's place and shuts down the Cats. They are replaced by the 7 Soldiers of Victory, who are filled with classic Cats characters. Now on the run, it is up to the Wildcats to retake Halo. Along the way, Grifter has to fight through the multiverse, in the hopes of solving a mystery related to the Void. Sounds weird, corporate, and kind of fun? Yeah, that's the Wildcats. Unfortunately, the series is ending after issue 12, but who knows if there may be more on the horizon, as it teased a return to more classic status quo. James Gunn has also teased him on social media, so a cinematic debut may be soon. But one thing is for certain, Wildcats are here to stay.